Hey there, I am Jay Baer. I'm the president of Convince and Convert, which is a consulting firm that helps big brands all over the world with their content marketing, their social media marketing, their customer service, and their influencer marketing. I've been in the online marketing business now for almost 24 years. Yes, I am deceptively youthful looking. I've written 5 books, including 2 New York Times bestsellers, and I travel around the world giving speeches and helping people figure out these kind of content marketing questions. I could not be more excited to be working with my good friend John Devaney. He is a fantastic guy, a very, very smart and astute man with a ton of experience, and you are going to learn an awful lot in the coming little while. I could not be more excited for you. So John asked me to spend a couple minutes talking about content marketing, something that I've spent a lot of time on, both on the consulting side. I've written books about it, talked about it all the time. So I think it might be useful to just start with what is content marketing. And you'll find a lot of different specific definitions out there from different people. But here's what I think it is. I think content marketing is when businesses provide some sort of information or entertainment to customers and prospects that then causes some sort of behavior change. And that behavior change could be an attitude change. It could be clicking a link. It could be buying a product. It could be continuing to buy a product. There's any number of behavior changes that could be the result of content marketing, but ultimately content marketing is information or entertainment that causes behavior change. So what's one of the sort of misperceptions, misunderstandings of content marketing is that it's new. And while the volume of content marketing is most definitely on the rise, and I'll talk about that in a minute, the concept of content marketing has been around for a really long time. In fact, even in the early 1900s, the John Deere company, the tractor manufacturer, used to put out a magazine called The Grower, which was given only to their customers and all about kind of, how farm equipment works and focus on different farmers and things like that. That was one of the very first instances of content marketing. Now, of course, almost every business is either creating content or thinking about creating content, and there's a number of reasons for that. Perhaps the most important reason is that how customers make buying decisions has changed. All the technology that has happened in the last few years has set up a circumstance where the customers are in control in a way that they didn't used to be. So whether it's DVRs or satellite radio with fewer commercials or ad blockers on your computer, etc., it's much harder to reach your potential customers than ever before. And that is particularly true online. More and more of our attention is spent online versus offline. In fact, some data from Nielsen shows that from 2010 to 2015 in America, we saw a 110% increase in daily time spent on the internet. And I'm sure that's true for all of you. There's probably nobody watching right now that isn't spending considerably more time online now than they were 5 years ago, unless you just got electricity or were just released from prison or both. So online, all businesses, yours, mine, your future business, everybody's business, have a really, really difficult competitive scenario that isn't necessarily true offline. So think about this. Think about Facebook. So if I'm on Facebook, I see a message from a friend, a message from a family member, then a message from a business, then another business. It's a combination of personal and professional messages, all in the same place, all in one stream. The email inbox works the same way. You get messages from people you know, you get messages from companies trying to sell you stuff, etc. Twitter's the same way, Instagram the same way. That's only true online, though. Right? Offline, you don't have your friends. Your friends are not buying TV commercials, right? Your friends are not advertising on bus benches or what have you. But online, messages from personal sources and professional sources, commercial sources, are combined. And so what that means is that as a business person online, where everybody's spending their time now, you're competing for attention, not just against other businesses, but you're competing for attention against people that you actually know and people that you actually love, right? So your competitor may not be whomever sells whatever you sell. Your competitor may actually be your customer's brother, because that's what's next in the feed. And that's really, really difficult. So content marketing, giving people something of value or entertaining them in some way, as opposed to saying, come on down and buy some furniture or whatever, is increasingly the way to break through that clutter and that competition. So essentially what we do with content marketing, or what we try to do with content marketing, is change the historical relationship between company and customer, which has always been, let's create top of mind awareness, right? You know that term, top of mind awareness. The idea is that you have this sustained level of awareness in the marketplace. If you're selling socks, for example, when somebody needs socks, like, hey, my feet are cold, they're like, oh yeah, those guys, they're the sock guys. They remember you because you've had this sustained level all along. Well, that's really, really difficult and expensive to do now. So instead, what we try to do is use content marketing to create something closer to friend of mine awareness, a relationship between the business and customers that is more similar to the relationship we have with our actual friends. We can count on them. They inform us, they entertain us, they help us. So lots and lots and lots of companies are using content marketing effectively now. One of my favorite examples is Lowe's, the home improvement retailer. They have a long-standing comprehensive program called Fix in 6. And they are 6-second videos, only 6 seconds, that show you how to do interesting and helpful things around the home. They're called Fix in 6 because this program originally started on Vine. If you're familiar with that platform, it's the very short form video platform owned by Twitter. And so these 6-second Vine videos show you how to do all kinds of interesting things. They're fascinating. So they just give them away and say, here's an interesting tip. You should know this. They started on Vine. Now you can also find them on YouTube, on Pinterest, on Tumblr, a bunch of other places. On the B2B side, a good example is Adobe. Adobe makes PDF, as you probably know. They make Illustrator. They make a bunch of other software programs. They're a B2B company for the most part. They have a website called CMO.com, Chief Marketing Officer, CMO.com. CMO.com is a treasure trove of information for professional marketers. It has research reports. It has white papers. It has blog posts. It just has information. And Adobe creates that and gives it away for free. Very little of that information is written by Adobe. Very little of it is about Adobe. It's certainly not a commercial for Adobe. In fact, the logo is just really small in the corner. You'd barely even know it was from Adobe unless you looked kind of hard. It is content marketing that eventually builds a relationship that they can then turn into behavior change and new customers. On the more consumer side, probably everybody there knows the company Mondelez, or you at least know their products. Ritz Crackers, for example, is one of the Mondelez products. And so Ritz Crackers has a very interesting content marketing play called a Cheese Rank, cheeserank.com. And it is the ultimate online destination for cheese. You got cheese information, you got how to pair cheese with wine, you got how to pair cheese with different crackers, where does cheese come from, how is cheese made. Like if you're a cheese nerd, and I guess there are cheese nerds out there, Cheesemonger, I think is the official title for them. This is like your greatest website of all time, right? So it's not about crackers at all, it's about cheese. But ultimately, cheese is about crackers, i.e. the power of content marketing. And some of the best content marketing out there works that way. It's elliptical, right? It's not head on. And in fact, that's one of the things that makes content marketing and sets it apart from traditional marketing. Traditional marketing says, we have a product, you should buy it, here's what it costs, come on down. Content marketing says, here's some great information that you need to know, and you allow the customer or the prospective customer to figure out that they should give you money. You don't ask them for money, they figure out that they should give you their money on their own. One of my clients formerly is Columbia Sportswear. You probably know those guys. They make outdoor gear and jackets and hats and stuff. They have a mobile app, which is a terrific piece of content marketing called What Not to Do in the Greater Outdoors, KNOT. And it's a mobile app that actually shows you how to tie knots right on your phone. So if you're camping or hanging off the side of a cliff or something like that, or you're tied up to a train track, Snidely Whiplash style, it's super useful. You may not use it every day, but in the off chance you need to know how to tie a knot and you were not in the Navy, it is a fantastically useful piece of content marketing. KNOT, What Not to Do in the Great Outdoors. So content marketing must inform or entertain, right? It can't just be bullet points. If it's bullet points and here's how much it costs and here's how awesome it is, it's just a brochure, right? Content marketing does not mean brochure online. It means something more than that. In fact, the thesis, the sort of prism that a lot of marketers use now when considering their content marketing is the principle of utility, which I came up with a few years ago. It's YO utility. And I wrote a whole book about it, and the concept of utility is now in place in lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of marketing departments of businesses all around the world, which is very gratifying for me. So utility says that if you're going to create content, it must be content that is so useful, customers would pay for it if you asked them to do so. They would pay for it if you asked them to do so. Now, you don't actually charge them because it is marketing. It does benefit you eventually. But it is so good, it is so useful, it is so valuable that consumers would actually pay a price if they had to. It is marketing that people actually want to receive instead of what is typically created, which is marketing that people simply tolerate. So would you spend a few dollars to, if you were, a nerd, to have access to all the world's great cheese information, a cheese magazine, if you will? Yeah, if that was your thing, you would totally subscribe to a cheese magazine and you would pay money to do it, but you don't have to because it's a utility and it's content marketing. Would you spend money to have a mobile app that tells you how to tie knots? Yeah, I mean, if you had a boat, you would totally do that. Absolutely, but you don't have to because it's a utility and it's a piece of content marketing. If you were a senior marketer in a company, would you pay money for an online magazine that tells you all the things you need to know, new research, etc.? Absolutely. People do that all the time. You don't have to because you can just go to cmo.com for free, and it's a utility and a great piece of content marketing. So keep that in mind. The content that you create has to be valuable. It has to stand on its own because ultimately what you're doing is you're trading people's time and attention for whatever information you put in front of them. That's the exchange. It's attention for information or attention for entertainment. That's how it works. I hope that helps you understand a little bit more about content marketing. Thanks very much to my friend John for having me appear on this video. Wish all of you the very best of luck. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.